Okay, so let us begin with today's class. So yesterday we have stopped at the project planning things we were studying, where we have just learned that size is the most fundamental parameter based on which other estimations like cost, duration, effort, all these estimations are made for a project. And after these estimations are being made, then the scheduling, staffing, all these things can be done. Now, what is sliding window planning? So it is usually very difficult in order to make exact plans for large projects at the initialization stage only. If I have a large project, I cannot make accurate plans for the entire project just at the starting of project initiation. So, a part of the difficulty there will arise from the fact that large projects may take several years to complete. So, as a result, what happens is during the span of the project parameters, the scope of the project staff, and other also, they often change since the project will run for several years. So in between it may happen that some people have left the job, so new people will be recruited, or say they will be switched from one project to another. So definitely there will be a change in the staffing of the project staff. There will be a change in the project parameters, because for the 2 years the customers was not demanding anything. It may happen in the third year the customer is demanding some other thing. So especially for projects which generally run for a longer or a larger years, there are some changes during in on this project parameters, and which can result in a change in the initial plans. So in order to overcome this problem, sometimes project managers, they undertake this project planning over several stages. So that means that after the initial project plans have been made, they are revised at frequent intervals. So planning a project over a number of stages, it will protect the managers from making big commitments at the start of the project. So this technique of what will I say? This technique of staggered planning, that means uh, we are planning over several stages and not only freezing it at the initial phase only. So at frequent intervals, planning can be changed. So this technique is known as sliding window planning. That means over a number of stages, the managers will protect his planning. He will plan at frequent intervals over a number of stages, and thus they will save the commitment they can do to a customer at the start of the project. So if I commit at the start of the project that I will do this and that, and suppose in later stages of project I come across the fact that this commitment cannot be uh, saved, or this commitment cannot be followed because few changes in the project has occurred, due to which the commitment cannot be followed. So in order to save themselves and to save the company, for that what project managers they do, they follow the sliding window planning. That is, they start with the initial plan, and later on, as more and more time elapses at frequent intervals, they plan their project more and more. So at the start of a project, the project manager, he has an incomplete knowledge about this project. So his information base, it gradually will improve as the project progresses through the different development phases. And we all know that as project will progress, the complexity of different project activities will become clear. Then some risks that were involved, it will be surfaced. Then that risks will be eliminated. Maybe some other new risks will appear. So these project parameters, they will always be re-estimated periodically as the understanding becomes more and more clear. So the project parameters should also need to change, so that in order to fit with the project, it may happen that the project parameter does not need to change, but it is seen in most of the cases that since the manager starts with an incomplete knowledge about the uh, I will what is a deep knowledge about the project. He will just start with the initial knowledge about the project. So as more and more time is gone, his knowledge base, information base gets stronger, and his parameters will be re-estimated. So by these developments, the project manager, he can plan the subsequent activities more and more accurately and with increasing level of confidence. And this entire method where a project manager starts with an initial nitty gritty information based concept, and more with gradual understanding, becoming more and more clear about what the customer is demanding. More and more he goes deeper and deeper into the project with span of time. He re-estimates, he re-evaluates, and with all this entire concept where starting with the initial plan, the project is planned more accurately over a number of stages. This is known as sliding window planning. Okay, the next topic is SPMP document of project planning. My DigiPen is okay. Wait, I will just change my DigiPen because it's not working. Okay, wait, I need to just take a picture of the attendance. Okay. So once the project planning is complete, the project managers, they will definitely document their plans in a document. Now that document is known as software project management plan document. So SPMP means, I will write this thing. So from here, SPMP document. Okay. So the plans which the project managers have made, they will document it in one document, and that document we refer to as the SPMP document, or the software project management plan document. So there are different items that the SPMP document consists. Now we will discuss that what are the different things that are that are there in the contents of the SPMP document. The first content of SPMP document consists of introduction. Okay. So this introduction will consist of few things. It will consist of the objective. It will consist of the major functions. It will consist of the performance issues. It will consist of the management and technical constraints. Okay. So the first part is the introduction part, where the introduction will consist of the objectives, the functions, the performance issues, the management and the technical constraints. Okay. Let me just save it. The next content that it will contain is the project estimates. Now, inside this project estimates, he will contain a lot of things. First, in order to make any estimate, we need some data. So, it will contain the historical data which is used. It will contain the estimation techniques used. It will contain the effort, the resource, the cost, and the project duration estimates. Okay. This SPMP document, it is just like a book where, 1 minute. So this SPMP document, it is just like a book which have a few chapters, and in between the few chapters, so first is the introduction, then is the project estimates. Under this under one chapter, we have a few other pages. So these are the topics under which this thing is elaborated. The next chapter is, which is estimated, or which is documented in the SPMP document, is the schedule. So we know that scheduling, a lot of varieties are there. When we talk about scheduling, we know there is a part chart, we know there is Gantt chart, we know there is a work breakdown structure. So several types are enlisted, and those types will be enlisted under scheduling, that using which method, what is the value of the scheduling which is coming, that things will be elaborated. So these things we will be studying in the subsequent classes. Okay. So these are the various methods of scheduling which are elaborated in any document, that is using which method, what is the value of my scheduling. So these are the different types which are followed, or different methods which are followed when we do the scheduling concept. Next is the project resources chapter. Now, when we talk about these project resources, for a project, the people is the resource, the hardware and the software things which will be used, those are also resource. So, the people who are using, they are the resource. The hardware and the software parts, they are also the resource. So, the software will be related to the data part, and the hardware will be related to the hardware configuration part. Okay. Next is the staff organization. So after the staff organization is done, then the everything related to the risk which the project manager has planned, that in doing this type of project, this type of risks may occur. So, what are the type of risks he has identified? How he has come to the identification, that is, analysis what he has been able to identify, that these are the risks which may occur in this project at this levels. What are his estimation and what are his removal procedures? So, everything which the project manager is planning, everything single thing needs to be documented in the SPMP document. Okay. Then the seventh head, or the seventh item which needs to be documented or be present, is the project tracking and control plan. How will I be tracked? How will I track the project? There must be some proper, suppose you people are attending classes, we are taking classes, you people are attending classes, but there must be some criteria which is well defined, like after 1 month I will take the overall attendance. If I see that this people attendance is very poor, I will call them out and ask for the reason. If that reason is justified, I will give him some time so that he can appear in the next month cycle of attendance, he can improve. So like this, one planning of tracking each and every student is there with us. Similarly, there is a planning of tracking the entire project, and there must be a plan for controlling the different parameters of the project. Now that is known as project tracking and control plan. the different metrics with which we measure our project progress, we need to track those metrics. So the metrics to be tracked using which we measure the progress of our project, then there must be a tracking plan which must be properly set. Like I will track my project after this much duration of time. If for tracking I will look at this parameters in my project, and there must be a proper control plan also, that if I see any deviation from the plan which I have made, how will I be able to control that deficit. So there must be a project tracking and control plan according to which the different things. Now these are the main 7 items that need to be present in any SPMP document, starting with the introduction, then the project estimates, then the schedule, then the project resource, then the staff organization, risk management plan, and project tracking and control plan. So these are the 7 things that need to be present in any proper SPMP document. Now, in addition to this, depending on project to project, few other documents are also present which comes under various miscellaneous items. That means I will write it down once. Okay. So, in addition to the several items or the organization, the several items which are listed in any SPMP model, several other miscellaneous plans also are enlisted. Those I have written down. Suppose the quality assurance plan, how are you planning to measure the quality, whether it has been assured or not? What is the configuration management plan? What is the system testing plan which you are thinking to achieve? What about the delivery, the installation, and the maintenance plan? All these plans, they need to be listed also. Even if they are not listed, but in later phases of time, it is seen that these points also need to be incorporated or inserted in the SPMP document. So this was all about the sliding window planning concept of creating, of managing the projects for a project manager, and the various items or the various chapters that are included in the SPMP document of any project planning. Is this thing clear? Yes or no? Is this thing clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will just share the attendance first. Okay, give the attendance first, then we will continue. So, as already discussed in the previous classes, that in order that accurate estimation of the project size, it is a very important and the main or the central theme to any satisfactory estimation of all other project parameters. So, since we have studied that size is the fundamental part of any project, so size estimation is the central pertaining to which other project parameters such as effort, completion time, cost, all these things can be estimated. So before discussing the various metrics which are available to estimate the size of any project, we will first put emphasis on this word project size. Now, what does this project size exactly mean? Now, size of a project is obviously, it is not the number of bytes that the source code will occupy, neither it is the size of the executable code. So size of a project is not related to the size of the executable code or the number of bytes that the source code will occupy in the memory. It is not related to that. So project size is a measure of the problem complexity in terms of the effort and the time required in order to develop the product. So currently, two metrics are very much popular which are being used in order to measure the size, that is the LOC, which is famous as the lines of code, and the function point metric. So we will be studying two matrices. One is the lines of code. Another is the function point metric. Okay. So these are the two metrics for estimating the project size, which we will be studying. Not today. We will be studying it in the next class. But as for today, just let us understand that size of any project is not the number of bytes the source code will occupy in the memory or the size of the executable code, but it is a complex measure. I mean, measure of the complexity that my project will or can handle in terms of the effort and the time which is required to develop my product, be it a software product or be it a software application, whatever it is. So this was all about today's class. So is there any query in understanding today's class? Have you been able to understand the project size estimation, at least how the project size is related and how this name is there, project size estimation? The LOC and the function point metric, these are the two new topics I will be needing. It can be covered in 1 minute, less than 1 minute is remaining. So we will be starting with it in the next class. Is this thing clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you so much for attending today's class.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Bye.